don't have a spot. I'll be up there. But until they introduce me, I'll be here with you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, well.
Are we good? Do you want to start Dallas's mic?
Everyone, if you could please take your seats, we'll get started. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Yeah? Great. Thank you all so much for being here tonight on such a joyous, celebratory, and special evening to celebrate what an amazing book launch we have here in such a great space. Round of applause. My name is Dallas Ducar, like the city in Texas, and I'm the Executive Vice President of Donor Engagement and External Relations at Fenway Health. And I'm really, really grateful to be in this room with you all tonight. I myself am an out trans person and also a psychiatric nurse practitioner by training, and really deeply understand the importance of this work tonight and really what Rebecca's giving all of us tonight, and I'm really excited to hear the conversation as well. I'm really honored to celebrate raising trans kids with Rebecca Miner and all of you. And when I think about everything that's happening in the world right now, really tonight is a night that is focused fully on resilience, on celebration, and really our collective action. Not only what we hear tonight, but then what we do with that work, what we do with the voices that are shared, what we do with the stories that are shared moving forward, and what we do after we read this really, really important book. I want to talk a little bit about where Fenway Health is right now as a representative of Fenway. And specifically, we've gone through a little bit of changes in our mission and our vision to really double down on our commitment to the work that we have been doing for 50 years and will continue to do. First off, thank you. First off is our mission. So our mission has been changed a little bit to really deeply reflect that we are rooted. We are deeply rooted in LGBTQIA+ community and racial justice. And we are making that very clear today, tomorrow, and for every day in the future. We will provide and we will advocate for compassionate, equitable healthcare. Research, we do a ton of research here too, even if it's endangered in this current environment, and education. Empowering people from all walks of life to live, to love, and to thrive freely. That is what we stand for in our mission. And we have a really, really big vision here that we hope that everyone's a part of in this room today, and so many others in our communities. A world where everyone can lead fulfilling, healthier lives with the resources and care needed to achieve health equity for all. And we, with our CEO, Jordina Shanks, who is phenomenal to work with, we are advancing health equity every single day in all the work that we do, in all of, whether it's the research, whether it's the community care, whether it's the clinical care, everything that we do to ensure that we're living our values in action. And so I just want to mention a little bit about our values too. One, community. We are center in community. This right here, this room, if you look around, this is an example of our values in action. To foster connections with each other and our community partners to strengthen our impact. Right now especially, right now, it is only possible to do this work together and to be in community together. And so we're really cultivating brave spaces in which people can come together to connect, to be heard, and support one another. Innovation. We want to identify, develop, and execute on really novel approaches to some of the toughest challenges that healthcare is facing today, especially federally qualified health centers. And justice. We deeply believe that we are driven to identify, to develop, and execute novel approaches to tough challenges and drive progress. And this is all guided through our strategic plan, which we just finished, which really focuses on 3 core areas. The first one is provider of choice. And really, when we talk about provider of choice, we are trying to expand access through a multitude of different ways, whether it's through telehealth, whether it's someone that's living under the BU Bridge or on Beacon Hill, making sure that everyone is able to get access to care when they need it, where they need it. Whether you're in Western Mass or here, or as we extend care beyond too. To be an employer of choice, to really create a workplace where people can show up authentically and be themselves. I've only been here for like 9 months now, but I've really been able to see that here. It's really been amazing to see how many people deeply love to be here. And organizational sustainability. Right now, these are really, really difficult times. And I also wouldn't be someone who does philanthropy without also saying that we're deeply committed to trying to ensure that we can create other sources of revenue diversification. And we've been really, really, really lucky to be able to be generous recipients of some gifts of some parents, actually, who've deeply cared about this work, who have gone a very long way to dedicate continued resources for gender affirming care. And so it's been really important in this context. Because we're in really a defining moment right now. A moment that defines Fenway, a moment that defines us all, a defining moment for healthcare, and especially a defining moment for trans rights. Massachusetts right now is a really, really unique space. We are the only state, to my knowledge, that has not backed down in the provision of gender affirming healthcare. I don't know any other state. We've seen it in California. We've seen it in New York. We've seen it in Illinois. We've seen it in many states that are blue states. And this really represents a critical time where Massachusetts can stand together, and we have been in coalition together. We have also seen our Attorney General, good friend of mine, Andrea Campbell, co-lead a multi-state lawsuit against federal attempts to criminalize youth gender affirming care, saying it is federal overreach, and we are seeing success in courts. We are. And we've seen more recently a recent SHIELD law, the revision of the SHIELD law 2.0, which Fenway has been at the table with other partners too, ACLU, GLAD Law, other amazing advocates. We have so many great nonprofits here, y'all, who are doing really good work, and we have been able to ensure that we've safeguarded protections for reproductive and gender affirming care in removing fear as a barrier, safeguarding providers, safeguarding families, which is so incredibly important, and patients. And we have been able to really be a part of that, which has been amazing. And we've also seen, as of yesterday, if you've seen it even, Boston Children's Hospital has been successful in quashing subpoenas from the federal government in federal court to ensure that gender affirming care can still be provided. So we are united in this work. More recently, just on the legislative front, we've been really, really grateful to be having amazing, amazing partners in the legislature, some of whom are here tonight. If you work in our legislature, can you just raise your hand or stand up? There we go. Thank you, Olivia, so much. And we have amazing partners who are there and have helped us establish the first in the nation Gender Affirming Care Trust Fund, which is $1 million, at least $1 million, which is dedicated to being able to fill those gaps when people are uninsured or underinsured to ensure that patients still receive health care, which is astounding. We stood with Governor Healy a couple weeks ago at the signing of the SHIELD law and made it clear that we're here and we're not backing down. We have ensured the continuity of care amidst federal threats, among so many others. And we have some amazing providers in the room that have made sure that that continuity of care has been able to continue. Julie, anyone else here? Staff, if you can just raise your hand. Just amazing, amazing people doing really good work. Thank you. Thank you. And we've been able to represent our community voices in really shaping some of these protections. So I just want to say thank you all. Thank you all. And I want to thank you also to, I also want to say a very big thank you also to the committed work that we've been able to do with the City of Boston specifically, and with the Mayor's office, And Justice, if you could also wave your hand too. Thank you so much for all of the work that you've done in partnership with Fenway. And thank you too to the Boston Foundation as well for all the work that you all have done in our co-conspiratorial work to make sure that this work is advanced. So thank you. Thank you to Scott Knox. Thank you, Lee Pelton. Thank you to all of us. So tonight, we really want to celebrate Rebecca's work and the courage also of all the trans kids and families that are part of this work, people that are here tonight. And the celebration alone is not enough. The next steps here are really to continue to stay informed, to amplify awareness of the many protections that we have in Massachusetts and the resources that we have, and to continue to advocate, knock on doors, and build those protections, because we only do this together in community. And importantly, so importantly, is to share stories like raising trans kids, to be able to really help others understand the importance of this work, especially those who may not understand, so that we, in sharing stories, can build not only collective action, but really also a larger movement. Because when we stand together under these values of community, innovation, and justice, we are stronger. And so thank you, Rebecca. Thank you to all the families and everyone in this room for joining tonight. And let's carry tonight's energy to create a place where we can celebrate, a place where we can protect, and advance a future where every kid can grow up safe, seen, and affirmed. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Okay.
Thank you for being.
I wrote this book for love. Thank you. Over and over again, my work with parents and caregivers, I have seen that what gets in the way isn't a lack of love. It's a lack of education, a lack of resources, a lack of tools. What if we could remove these barriers? What if parents had something in their hands that empowered them to do what they already know how to do, which is love their kid? That's what this book aspires to be: a tool, a companion, an instrument of hope. I wrote it for the parents who feel scared and alone, lying awake at night and desperate for answers. I wrote it for the families who want to show up but don't always have the words. I wrote it for the grandparents learning alongside their grandkids. I wrote it for the educators who want to create safe and affirming classrooms. I wrote it for the allies who want to stand up but aren't sure how. And I wrote it for the trans adults still healing from not having the support they needed and deserved when they were young. As I am packing my own go bag to give birth, some of the parents I work with are packing theirs to prepare for the possibility that they may need to flee their state or possibly the country. So far this year, 972 anti-trans bills have been introduced across the United States, many of them targeting trans kids and their families. These laws are intended to restrict freedom and instill fear. Parents should not need a go bag to raise their kids in this country. But this book isn't about fear. It's about love. It's a book about possibility. It's a book about trans joy and trans liberation, and about ensuring that every parent, caregiver, and educator has the tools to help every young person flourish. When we put this book in parents' hands, we're not just giving them pages, we're giving them hope. Thank you. This book wouldn't exist without so many people. Start with our event sponsors and hosts, Fenway Health and the Equality Fund. Thank you for believing in this work and for making tonight possible. To my publisher, Row House, thank you for your vision, your courage, and your commitment to putting this book into the world. To my sibling, Sami, and Amelia for designing the cover that captures so much attention and invites readers in. To my clients and their families who trusted me with your gender journeys, this book exists because of your courage. Oh boy. And belief in our work together. To the students and research assistants, Alana, where are you? Hi. Who helped me shape this project from the very beginning. Thank you for your early faith in this work and your dedication. To my colleagues and peers who push me to think deeper and do better, thank you for your insights, your edits, and your encouragement. To my friends and family, you raised me to be curious, to never be a bystander, and to always be in service. Okay, I got this. Being pregnant is a whole thing, y'all. To my spouse, thank you for tolerating the late nights, the rewrites, and the fears that this book would be banned before it even got into the hands of those who needed it most. Your patience and partnership made this possible. And to the trans elders and ancestors who paved the way, whose courage and resilience has fueled this civil rights movement for decades. One of the greatest privileges of my career has been witnessing the power of parents and caregivers, many of whom are here tonight. What inspires me is not only their unconditional support for their children, but also their willingness to learn in moments of uncertainty and their unwavering advocacy for their child's fundamental rights and freedoms. Every single day, these parents give me hope because every single day they choose love. So together, we can make history. Together, we can send a message that trans kids are not alone, their families are not alone, and there is a whole community that will never stop fighting for them. Thank you for being here tonight, for showing up, for standing up, and for helping this book find its way into the hands of those who need it most. Let's do this together, for love. And now, I will be joined by Stephen Chakumba. I don't know if y'all know Stephen. You may have seen him on the Netflix documentary, The Dads, which he also produced. And we're just gonna have a conversation, have a little living room style chat. And then we're gonna do a Q&A, just so everyone knows what to expect. And then there will be a dance performance. So that's our agenda.
That is our agenda. So hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I want everyone to know that I talked to Rebecca like a couple months ago when she had a finished manuscript and she was just like, would you be interested in, I was like, yes. Whatever it is that you're gonna ask me, the answer is yes, and it has continued to be yes. And so here I am today on this stage with this amazing person who has written the book that I needed when my son said, I'm not a girl. And I had no answers. I had no wife because she had passed away the year prior. And I was just like, okay, what are we gonna do? And here she comes 8 years later with the book I was looking for then.
Late.
So what we're gonna talk about first is, give me, from your viewpoint, a snapshot of what parents are experiencing right now.
Well, it's not a great time. I think on the whole, parents are very afraid. And you know that. And many of you know that, right? I mean, the funny thing about this crowd is like, I don't have to convince any of you of why any of this matters. You're like, thank you, I came for a reason. but it is a particularly challenging time. And I think parents are doing their best to keep showing up and not always letting their kids know how terrified they really are, which I think is a really difficult thing to hold, of like, how do I both unconditionally show up for my kid while also holding the fear of this current moment.
We are now sharing a microphone.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I know as a parent of a Black trans man that I stay kind of in a place where fear never really goes away. You know, the experience of Black trans people is probably, Black trans women in particular, but Black trans people generally is probably the worst in the trans community because, you know, you don't get more vulnerable, you don't get more marginalized. And so for me, it's been very difficult to both maintain that kind of stoic facade, stoic front, I won't call it a facade, because I do feel when I'm out here in the world representing LGBTQ plus people, I feel very strong. But at the same time, I have that lingering sensation that something could go wrong at any moment for which you can't adequately prepare. And this particular administration is doing everything in its power to ensure that we are constantly playing defense and don't get that moment to just kind of breathe and relax. And you, as a new mother, you know, a mother to be, I can only imagine like what you must be going through and your spouse must be going through thinking about bringing the child into this particular world. So I'm not going to stay here because we're not going to stay in bad places. We're not going to stay in dark places today. This is a moment for celebration. So even though I just said that, I want you to talk about the fears, the sense of loss, that kind of uneasy sense that families are going. You talked about the go bag, which I think is super apropos at this time. And we're not talking about going to the hospital, but we are talking about families fleeing. And you and I both know several families that we've known intimately that have fled. Talk to me about what that is like for families now.
I mean, I don't think there's a day that goes by that there isn't a parent that asks me, how will we know when it's time? Which is not an easy question to answer. And I think there are plenty of families who are making the courageous decision to stay no matter what. And there are also plenty of families who don't have the privilege of making that decision at all. And so I think that's its own challenge of like, you know, if we can't just pick up and go, we can't afford to move our family, we can't lose our jobs, we can't move our kids. How do we navigate that? And then there are also families that are in real time making that happen. And I've had the ability to support families in making those moves. Some of you are here tonight who've come from other states, and I'm so glad you're here and you made it. But it was not without a lot of challenge and giving up. And I think no family should have to do that. And no one should have to do that to ensure that their child has access to what we know is life-saving, medically necessary care.
It's interesting that you should say that because I think a lot of what we've been fighting against is this impression that only some parents, only some families have rights and others are just kind of left to the sidelines to kind of figure out on their own. And I think that's very unfortunate, but it's the reality of kind of where we are right now. So I'm happy that you kind of talked about the reality of what it is right now. I want you to talk about, really briefly, why this book also speaks to grandparents and caregivers and people who are like in parentis loci and who may not actually be, air quotes, biological parents of kids. Because it's, you know, when I read this book, I noticed that you really made the audience kind of wide and not necessarily just the people that may have brought a particular child into the world. So why do you think that that was kind of your focus?
I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you for asking. I did that because I don't think any child is raised by just one or two people. I think, and nor do I think they should be. I think we've gotten away as a culture from more communal child rearing and raising, and that's actually essential to healthy connection, attachment, and support. And I work with the coolest grandparents in the world, so I partly wrote it for them too. But when I wrote the book initially, I wrote it for everyone, and they were like, my publisher was like, girl, you gotta
Calm yourself.
we can't call it like raising trans kids for parents, educators, grandparents, allies, community members, church members, faith-based, like, you gotta reel it in. So, but that's also why in the prologue I was like, I'm gonna use the word parent, but I see you, whoever you are, and I really do want this to be read and utilized by anyone who cares about any kid, right? Not just trans kids. Because you also might think you don't have a trans kid, and then you do.
Hello?
Or you think you don't know a trans kid, and you will.
Hello?
So be prepared.
Hello?
You see why I picked him?
So let me actually.
You want the mic back.
I want the mic back. And so it's important to have context to what she's saying. As I reflect on my own journey and my own experience, I remember the day Hobbs was like, you can share my identity with the rest of the family. I was like, great. Had a barbecue, had invited everyone over. My mother, my two brothers, my sister-in-law, my niece and nephews, everybody came over. I was like, this is gonna be great. And so after we ate and people were like milling about, I had my two brothers, my mother, my sister-in-law in the room, and I was just like, okay, I just want you all know that Hobbs, we were still calling him his former name, but Hobbs is a boy, and I would like from this point forward to all to use he, him pronouns, and to be mindful of using the former pronoun when you're around him. I know that's gonna be difficult. If you have any questions, I'm happy to talk to you, but he shared his identity with me. We are fully supportive. We have a good care team in place, and we would like you all to be a part of this supportive network. And I understand that this is hard, but this is what we need. My brother said, I'm not gonna have my kids confused by this. My mother said, just because you're an American, doesn't mean you can act like this. I will not call my granddaughter my grandson. And I was like, okay, cool, but what's not finna happen is you are not going to disrespect me and my child. So if you wanna be around this family, you wanna come to these kind of gatherings where I cook and entertain, then you will respect my wishes. It probably didn't, thank you. It probably wasn't as eloquent as that. Let me just preface that. And I didn't have the resource of this book, which would have given me
Late.
more, very late, horribly late, well too late.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness, is there a time machine? Can I go back? But it was the kind of thing, and it is the kind of thing that you invariably will find yourself in a position where difficult conversations will have to be had, and you don't want to be freestyling it. You don't want to shoot from the hip. You want to be as grounded as possible. Just, I'm saying grounded like breathe. Like she tells you to breathe when you're having difficult conversations, because then you are self-regulated and you do not allow yourself to go off on tangents and say things that you might regret. Remember, the child transitioned first. They were the first ones to come to an understanding of themselves before they shared it out. So whatever period of time, whether they told you at 2 or 10 or 21, it took them that long to get there. So we're not gonna get there overnight, but we're gonna get there before other family members who don't know are gonna get there. And so we are all going through this period of transition, and it's important for us to be able to do that. Damn if this one didn't write that damn book earlier for me. But I have more questions for you. If I can only open my phone. Okay. I want us to think about the positives. I want to think about how we can support our children so that they can thrive. All right? And so one of the themes in your book is this concept of thriving. What story in your book really helps you to think about that concept of thriving, a kid thriving through these changes?
Don't look at me like that. On page 27, no, I'm kidding. I think, well, the story that I think of just off the top of my head is really what happens when parents listen and believe their kid when they tell you who they are from the get-go. And I know that's not everyone's story, and that's okay, right? I don't want to shame anyone who took time, because it takes time sometimes. But there's a story of a young man who I worked with who started to see me when he was 12. We were able to immediately get him on blockers, got him on hormones, and he proceeded with a puberty at the same pace as his peers, to the point where he was able to go to college choosing whether or not he wanted to be stealth. And that is a whole lot of privilege, right? We'll own that. But he never had to experience what it felt like to have his body betray him through puberty. He never had to experience family, peers, community who didn't support him. And so I got to see firsthand what happens when we let the things that work. And he had a very kind of, and I don't like to use this word, but like normal high school experience. Like it was still awkward, stuff with girls was weird, everything's still weird because it's still high school. But it wasn't like really dampened by the fact that he was also navigating a trans identity at the same time. And so that's when when people are like, well, aren't they too young? How could they really know? I'm like, I promise you they know. And when we listen, we can get it right.
Yeah. What she said, and it's so important to recognize that, because a lot of what we hear as parents of gender expansive children is that they're too young to know, they're too young to make decisions. And the converse is that if your child tells you they have a toothache, you don't question it. Yeah. If they tell you they have a tummy ache, you don't question that. If they've stubbed their toe, you don't question that. It's only when they start asserting themselves, their agency over their identity, that we start questioning them, which is a shame. It's an absolute travesty for parents to have limits to when we're going to listen to our children. And I don't think there's anything more important than listening to your child when they tell you who they are. I know for a fact, I was just sharing with Sandra earlier, when my child told me who he was, my wife had passed away literally the year prior, and I'm sitting in the room with this little person, eyes welled up with tears, saying some of the hardest words I can imagine a 10 or 11-year-old would ever have to tell his father, who's like big black African father, that he didn't feel like a girl. And I could have done something entirely different in that moment. I'd be like, whatever, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, you're too young, you don't know what you're saying. It's just, I could go through a myriad of different responses in that moment, except for the one that he really needed in that moment, which was, I got you, I hear you. I'm not gonna question what you're saying, because I know in this moment, I can help you thrive. I can help you become the person you're telling me you are by supporting you, by not questioning you, not diminishing you, not saying, oh, you're too young, recognizing that you have agency, recognizing the courage that it takes to speak those words in this moment, and supporting you from that point forward. And I have a kid who's thriving. He's a sophomore at New Jersey Institute of Technology studying computers. Damn, I got 4 kids, y'all. I got 4 kids. It is tough keeping track of what each one is doing, all right? So I gotta go through the, So the third one, Hobbs, is studying computer science, and he's doing exceptionally well. He pledged a fraternity his first year. So this concept of thriving and support is super important, and I really appreciate you kind of bringing those stories of your patients, of these families, into the pages of this book so that other families who may not know how to navigate these parenting streets have some guideposts. All right, so I want you to give parents who are in this moment wallowing, struggling, confused, a message of love and support from the heart. Not something you wrote, from the heart. Don't go to your phone.
I don't even have my phone.
Good.
I have no pockets. These maternity bodysuits don't have
Don't
pockets.
have pockets, I get it.
No.
Ooh,
Cheers.
no more for you.
What I would say to those parents, which I think I probably end up saying very often to parents, is that I know this is really scary right now, but you won't feel this way forever. And that I can confidently say, because I have sat with enough parents time and time again who have cried on my couch, that this passes and it will get easier. Not that life gets easier or the world gets easier, because right now it is not getting easier. But your ability to tolerate the discomfort, to sit with the uncertainty, and to lead with love for your kid does get easier. And I think that's really the message, is like, forget all like needing to know every term. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to love your kid.
Give it up. All right, I have one final question for you. One final question, and then we're going to turn to the audience for some questions if they have any. What do you say to the parent that's going to read this book in secret? Is going to hide in the bathroom or the closet and open the pages and scan through it furiously to find the answers they're looking for. What do you say to that parent? Parent.
I wrote this book for you. That's why this book exists. Because I know not every parent is going to have the ability to sit with someone like me or the wonderful team that I work with. And there are plenty of parents who are stuck in situations, in places and relationships where maybe their spouse doesn't support, maybe their faith community doesn't support, maybe they know they'll lose their extended family or risk their job, but they love their kid. And so I wanted them to have this tangible resource that they can hide under their mattress or in the glove box of their car. As I was recording the audiobook, it hit me that I was like, someone is gonna listen to this alone in their car and cry in their driveway and have to like wipe those tears and go inside and love on their kid anyway. And I'm so glad.
Don't you start crying again. I'm just kidding. You can cry, girl.
I'm so glad that I get to be a part of that.
Yeah. And you all get to be a part of that because you can buy up all her books and you can give them out to all the families that we know. And it's important that we don't think about the target audience being families of people with gender expansive children. Every single person who is in this society who does not currently know the need to be better at raising good people, about being better people to other people, need this book. It's super important that we don't just think, oh, who do I know with a gender expansive kid? Let me get this book to them. No. Who do I know? Let me get this book to them. Period. Okay, so I want you to keep that energy because later I have an ask for you all. Think pitch, think auctioneer, think that's me later. But right now, I want you to, if you have a question, raise your hand and we'll try to get to you. Okay, do we have a mic going around or am I gonna be handing this mic up? That's gonna be crazy. That's true, I am, but this is for show. This is, come on.
You're not trying
This
to
is
sweat
for
in that
show.
suit.
I'm not trying to sweat in this suit. So, okay, I'm gonna walk because these, oh, good, we do have another one. Are you gonna give them the mic? Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, so we're sharing.
We're sharing, but yes, good. And so before you ask your question, say Rebecca or Stephen so we know where the mic is gonna go after that.
This is for Rebecca.
Yes.
Talk right into the topic.
Talk right into the top. There we go. I can do mic work. Congratulations. I am so proud.
Thank you so much.
My name is Michelle. I'm a clinical social worker. We go way back. I'm also the parent of 2 trans young adults. They are 22 and 25, and I did not have this book when my kid at 2.5 asked, when can I have breasts like yours? It's not just when you're pregnant. But as a clinician that supports this community, and I work with teams, I work with the families, I've worked with them in the past, the question that I have for you is where I've run into challenges is, like your mom, coming from a different culture, what in here do we have that addresses that? Because I'm sorry, I haven't gotten to read all of it yet.
Well, that's okay. It just came out yesterday.
I had it on my shelf for a week. Porter Books had it last week, and my nesting partner picked it up.
Girl, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations. So there is actually a chapter that speaks directly to this. And answers, so each of the chapters is designed around a question that keeps parents up at night, and then addresses their limiting beliefs that might come along with that concern, and ends with a positive affirmation, along with key points and reflection questions. In case you're like, I don't have time to read this chapter, but I need to, the barbecue's happening, like I need to go in the other room and be like, what do I say to my mother? Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that it directly talks about is some of the ways in which families of specific cultures have figured out how to navigate a lot of things like coming of age ceremonies and different shifts to be able to still hold on to their culture, acknowledge where they're from, but also meet the child where they are in the fullness of who they are. It's not an easy thing, right? And we know that there are plenty of cultures that have deeply ingrained beliefs around gender and sexuality, and asking people to change those beliefs overnight is nearly impossible. But I think, well, how's your mom now?
I love that you had that chapter because I was just like, ooh, cultures prior to colonization and imperialism actually revered and elevated their gender expansive people.
That's also
and
in the book.
That's what I took from the book, and that's what I share with my African people thems, because that's something that we've lost. We've lost the knowledge of who we are. And I'm saying we, I'm not even talking about people of color, I'm talking about all people. If you are not Native American, indigenous to this country, and you come from a culture where your gender expansive people were celebrated, facts, not fiction. And so this knowledge is something that has to be reclaimed. And I think to Rebecca's point, when you find a parent who is in that position, share with them that knowledge that we've lost about the importance of revering those that were a little different because they were special, not because they were something to be, vilified or objectified or what have you. Great question. Other questions? Well, let's go you in the back and then you looking all delicious in your splendor. Okay, remember, who?
Rebecca.
Damn.
Hi,
Congratulations.
thank you so much.
I am curious, a book written in its entirety and then edited to make it to print, you took something out that either might be a good second book or is something that you still miss. What would that be? Just give us a hint. You don't have to tell us in its entirety, just give us a hint.
So I didn't strategically take anything out. I think the thing that was most challenging about putting this book out and not having the ability to continue to edit it was how much has happened in this last year. I mean, I started writing this book in 2020, and I thought it was urgent and timely then. Spoiler, it got a lot worse. So I think, like, keeping it relevant is something that will be necessary in a reprint. Come on, reprint. I also think that I didn't talk a whole lot about bottom surgery, which I think is something that parents do need a whole lot of education around. Everyone, not just parents. Didn't mean to, you know, you know when you know. But I was really trying to strike a balance of, like, how do I speak to the parents who maybe don't even want to be reading this book and could put it down at any given moment and never pick it back up again? And also give the people who want as much information as possible to meet their needs too. And so I played it a little safe around that. I also played it a little safe around race and safety. Because I think the reality is, like Stephen was saying at the beginning, the world is not nearly as safe for Black trans women especially. And while I acknowledge that in the book, I think there's a whole lot more education to be had around that. But I was trying to keep it brief. And for that, I'm sorry.
More questions we have right here. Okay, this mic's coming back down to you. You could just say the question is for me, even if it's for her. You could just put my name first.
You and I will hug it out later.
Very good.
You're adorable.
Thank you.
Y'all saw this here first.
Rebecca,
Yes, Beth.
I love you.
I love you too.
I am grateful beyond. I have not been pregnant in 22 years, but I may cry. I really want, as a clinician and a mom, and someone who wished she wrote this book, tell me the conception story of the book, not of the baby. Take me to the moment where you were like, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Were you in the RV?
Yes.
What was happening?
Oh my goodness.
I was in the RV.
For those of us who don't know about the RV.
For those of us that don't know about the RV, my spouse and I moved into an RV for 14 months during the beginning of the pandemic. We put our house on the market with the intention to move to California, and the day we did that, the CDC declared a global pandemic. And so we thought, what will we do now? And so we moved into an RV. And during that time, I continued to run my practice. And when we were on our way to California, a colleague and friend of mine, San Chang, reached out to me and said, a publisher reached out to me and asked me to write a workbook for parents of trans kids. And I was like, you have the wrong person, you should call Rebecca. And so I was like, oh, okay. Wait, actually, I got the story wrong. Ooh, hang on. A workbook for trans teens. And I was like, so I talked to the publisher and I was like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but trans teens don't want a workbook. They're on TikTok. They're not like sitting with their Ticonderoga pencil working on a little workbook their mom bought them. Like, I know parents would buy them, but kids would never open them. Right. And so I was like, you know who really needs a workbook is parents. And they were like, oh, can you write that proposal? So I poured my whole everything into that proposal, only for it to be denied and told that it was too niche. It wouldn't sell. There weren't enough people who it was relevant to, and no one knows who you are.
Oh, boy.
They're not in the room.
They're not here. They were not invited. And I said, watch me.
That's right.
So that's the story of the conception of the book. What time is it?
Okay, no more questions. No, so I don't have the run in front of me. Let me just hold. We'll edit this out later.
I think it's live.
We won't edit this out later. Okay, child, Foster, we are so sorry. This is your dance performance time. So there you are. So without further ado, we would present to you Foster and their live dance performance.
Then you're going to talk after?
And I'm going to talk after.
Because you just changed the run.
Did I change the run? Oh no, I'm going to talk now. Okay, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go over here. Excuse us. Slight adjustment. Thank you. So,
Foster's the finale.
over and over again, we find ourselves in situations where we don't have what we need when we need it. We are in a time right now in this country where so much negativity, so much bad things, so many horrible things are happening against the trans community specifically. And it's important that we don't allow this moment to pass without doing something about it. Earlier, Rebecca talked about the 900-something anti-trans bills introduced this year. Each and every year, there are more and more of these bills being presented in state house after state house. And now our federal government is like piling in on top of that. So that's something we cannot allow to continue. And the biggest thing, as far as I'm concerned, that is enabling this to happen is the ignorance, and I say ignorance not to be, not as a pejorative, but people don't know what they don't know. And so the way we can help them know is to make sure, why don't I have a book right here so I can wave at you?
It's behind you, in the screen.
Edit this out too. Is Rebecca's book. Now, earlier I said I was gonna be the auctioneer and the town crier. I want a show of hands. How many people have already purchased the book? Damn, the whole room is, damn it. Okay, how many of you have purchased a book for someone besides yourself? Okay, that's fewer than I like the one who has 2 books up. Okay, so for the rest of you who have not, it's so important that we do exactly what we talked about earlier, and we give this book, and we buy this book, and we give this book to as many people as possible. Earlier, I got an email that told me that this book was on Amazon, like #1 on Amazon. That's cute. Come on, give it up. We need to make this book a New York Times bestseller. That is our goal. That is our objective. Not only now, we only have how much time?
Till Saturday.
Okay, so that means in the next 4 days, we have to get, I don't even know how many books you've sold so far.
Me neither.
So we need to, is it 1,000 books?
They don't tell me.
10,000 books. So I'm gonna challenge you. So tonight, I'm buying 10 books. Who's gonna join me in buying 10 books? I see 1, I see 2, I see 3, I see 4, I see, okay. Oh, I see hands going up.
I'll buy 20.
Okay, so listen, don't pull my chain, okay? Because if a single book is left in that lobby, and if I don't see her book numbers like in the thousands tomorrow morning, I'm gonna come looking for y'all because she's got the list. She knows y'all name, okay? You registered for this, so I know it's happening. I mean, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
I'm from Jersey originally, so.
I'm in Jersey too, Jen.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I'm from Trenton. So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, JC? Okay, now I'm not messing with her. I take it back. I'm not even coming looking for you. But I do want us all to really be committed to not only buying the book and buying as many as we possibly can, but sharing the book, gifting the book. If you have a job that gifts, everything you do is tax deductible. So if you buy a book, if you donate a book, you can get a tax write-off. I don't know how much that means to you all, but it means a lot to people who are trying to keep their coin. So let's make sure we buy as many books. Let's make sure we use our social media. Some people can't buy 10 books. That's fine. We're not all millionaires like me. I'm not. Don't even listen to me. But we have social media. We have friends. We have email. We have mobile phones. We have text messages. We have ways of getting the word out to as many people as possible. I love me some Rebecca Minor. If you do too, raise your hand. Okay, so let's make sure this love pours out of Fenway into the rest of the world. Make sure that if you've come from far and wide, like me and Jen from Jersey, that you go back to your respective points of origin and you share what happened here tonight. You share the book that is available for parents like me and for parents not like me. For parents who don't have gender expansive children but need to be empathetic, compassionate, have the right words, know how to have a conversation about something that they heretofore knew nothing about, but it's important for them too. I cannot tell you how much my life has improved by meeting Rebecca Minor. Like, I'm not even trying to big her up because she's so vain. She probably thinks this song is about her. See what I did there?
I did.
But
Very good, Steven.
there aren't a lot of people like her. And so if you're not in Boston, invariably it's not likely you're going to come into contact with her. So let's make sure that we get Rebecca's book and the messages in Rebecca's book out as far and wide as possible. Let us make sure that the next publisher who reaches out to her doesn't say, Rebecca who? Minor, bitch. Let's make sure that she is on every television show, on every radio show, on The Breakfast Club, on in every magazine, so that people get the benefit of having someone so loving and compassionate and knowledgeable and caring help other families like mine, like ours, like everybody in the world who necessarily has not had the chance to recognize the beauty and the value and the importance of gender expansive people and the people that love them. So, on 3, we're gonna say Rebecca's book is top 10 on the New York Times bestseller list. I know that's a lot.
Okay. Top 10, maybe.
Rebecca's book is top 10 on the New York Times bestseller list. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Now it's your
Now
turn.
Foster can dance. Wait, furniture's moving.
Oh, furniture.
Somehow, that's not me. I'm not allowed to move heavy furniture right now.
Where do you want it to go? I'm going out? Yeah. Okay. Pretty good. All right, watch your back.
Can we get them? Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Oh, look at you. Look at this one by himself. I ain't even mad at you.
Foster. That was incredible. I'm so proud of you. That concludes our program. And now it will be available to sign books. There's still drinks and food and things to be had. And I believe there are clear directions about who's allowed to do what now that I don't know. Book signing in here. And we will call by row in 2 minutes. But between now and then, live your life.
Between now and then, let's get that to $10,000. Hello, let's make it happen. Thank you.
Sorry, I gotta go.